What we're going to be talking about today is something new that I wasn't really that aware of. Well, let's start with Matt Larson. Matt, first of all, who are you? Introduce yourself to the audience, if you don't mind. Tell us who the heck you are and why we've decided to host this webinar today, okay?
Yeah, sure. My name is Matt Larson. I'm the president and CEO of Our Hometown. And just, I guess, a little bit of background on the company really quick to give you some context. Our Hometown is a web development company, and we've been working with newspapers for 24 years to help build digital business models. And really what we're talking about today is getting into audio for the first time in a sustainable way, in a scalable way through automation. And I'd love to talk more about why we're doing this, some of the driving forces behind it.
Okay, well, now treat me like I'm a 3-year-old, Matt.
Sure.
What is the difference between voice, audio, and a podcast? Is it all the same? Is it all different? Just lay the land for us right now in today's wacky world.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would just start with a basic definition of a podcast. It's probably good to lay that foundation. So a podcast is basically an audio program that you can subscribe to on your smartphone. And it's very similar to talk radio. A lot of, talk radio hosts have their own podcasts, but the big difference is that it's on demand with a podcast. You can go in, open the app at any time and hear their latest episodes. You can go back in time, hear old ones. And so, I think the big difference with, radio is that it's more on demand, it's streaming, and it's presented as a playlist, usually in the podcast apps. So individual episodes you can listen to.
Okay, but now, what about voice? Like the wacky world of Alexa and Hey Google and all that kind of stuff. Is it the same or different or what?
Right. I would actually say it is a little bit different. A podcast is just an audio playlist, and you could have one of those on your website. But to enable the voice control, to get into the voice space, you've got to be plugged into the phone operating system through one of their native apps. So like if you have an iPhone, then you've got to be getting your content into the Apple podcast apps, because only then can you activate Siri to use your voice to play the episode. Otherwise, if the audio is on a website, you can't really control that with your voice yet.
And obviously the audience for this is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, or we would be doing this. Obviously, E&P has been doing podcasts now for over a year. Our audience is almost 2,000 between the video. But I learned a new word today when I researched this. There's a word called vodcast. I guess they're making it, that's when you do what we do, like we're doing now, the audio and the video at the same time. All right, so your company's Our Hometown, and you're all in, right? You've decided to put a lot of your muscle into audio. Like, what are you doing, and what is this all about?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I would just want to point out that from the beginning of the company, we've been all about automation. And so one of our first things that we came out with 24 years ago was a conversion of PDF to HTML. And that helped get people into digital, people that were resisting digital in 1997. It was a very different world. So we knew we had to automate that to get them into the web. It's the exact same thing here. We have all the content in HTML. A lot of publishers are putting it up themselves now. But we see automation as the way to get people into audio because, it's just incredibly time consuming, very expensive to produce a weekly podcast. And you really do have to do it frequently to build the audience. You can't just do it once a month or, once a quarter or something. So I think it's the combination of the growing audience that you said. I mean, 60% of the US listens to audio content once a week online. And, that audience is growing over the last year. It's grown 50% with the pandemic. Surprisingly, people are not commuting as much, but they are listening to more podcasts. So it's the combination of the growing audience, the issues with production, and the need to automate.
All right, so basically where we're at is with everybody downsizing, with revenue streams being hurt by COVID-19, there's so many different ways to automate now. This topic today will be how we can take this growing audience that want this audio delivery and find easy ways to do it, even for a small town publisher, right? Or someone with very limited resources.